Hey everyone, it is officially fall. I mean, not officially because the actual season won't be here for 3.5 weeks and it is technically still August and it's 100 degrees outside. So all of those things do not point to fall. However, I am in the fall mode. I get like this as a Floridian. I recently took a poll of a bunch of friends and people and asked, what is your favorite and least favorite month? And apparently a lot of people do not like August. But what's interesting is that people are split on September, and I feel like it's very regional because it is still hot here in September, so it still is kind of feeling like summer, and some people are ready for fall while others are still trying to enjoy the heat, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, my point is that even though it does not yet feel like fall, I am in that mode because we've already gone back to school and all of my summer things like vacation and whatever are behind me. So anyway, I want to tell you what I do to get myself organized for September and October, and then later there's going to be a part 2, what I do for November and December. And doing these things helps me get ready and plan and not be stressed or overwhelmed so much. I'm talking like school stuff, Halloween, gifts, just everything. And by organizing myself and putting reminders on my calendar, I feel like I'm setting myself up for success. And I haven't had really stressful falls or Christmas and Thanksgiving seasons in a while. I am busy, but I'm not stressed. Okay, so I'm gonna divide this into 3 categories: back to school, Halloween, and then miscellaneous. But these ways are how I get ready for September and October. Okay, so back to school. First thing is that I straighten up my drop zone. Now, this is not a fancy drop zone. I should show you my downstairs so you can get a full picture. By the way, this is we are full on, pumpkins are up. We don't have a huge house by any means. This is the kitchen and this is the living room and that is the dining area and that's it. So we don't have a drop zone. We have a little shoe bin, which I'm obsessed with because it is an area where you can fit 16 pairs of shoes and put something decorative on top and then you never see shoes. That was my husband's idea because he hates seeing shoes, but like I said, we don't have a drop zone. So it doesn't have to be aesthetic, it can just be functional. If you have an aesthetic drop zone area, that is great because I've seen some beautiful ones. But if you don't, it doesn't mean that you have to be disorganized. So I have a 2-cube shelf, right? Like a Walmart, Target, or IKEA shelf. And it's got 2 bins inside of it for miscellaneous things. One of them has like an extra backpack, one has pool stuff, and then on top of it is the backpack. The backpack and the lunchbox sit there every day after school. There are a couple other things like ballet slippers and jazz shoes for dance class, and that's it. So we have a designated spot for things. It's not fancy, it's not super cute, it's not very like aesthetic, but it is very functional, and so that is what we're looking for. The next thing is this back to school bucket I made. I decided to make this maybe 3 weeks ago, just right before we went back to school, and we've used it every single morning. So there is a section for hair ties and a hairbrush. So instead of doing hair upstairs, I can save time while my daughter's eating breakfast, she's eating, and I can just do her hair down here. There is a full outfit in case we spill something on ourselves and we don't want to run back upstairs. There's extra socks. There are little lunch notes. I have these little joke lunch notes, which are super cute, and just miscellaneous things in here. And it has helped so much because I know where everything is and I just keep it stocked. And it's just, again, it takes the stress off of the morning to have this bucket. So anyway, love it. And it is going to be, I didn't do it for the last 2 years and I don't know why. And now I'm like, we're going to have a downstairs school bucket, like morning school bucket forever. The next thing I did is get most of my snacks and food for lunches and snack time for my daughter just for the whole month to last me 3-4 weeks. And it's because, I don't know, she told me she doesn't have that much time to eat. And by the time I guess they sit down and they're chatting and then they get up, they probably have like 20 minutes. So she has a peanut butter sandwich, applesauce, and like some type of like, popcorn or something. And I'm like, that's all she has time for, and then a snack. So I bought all of this so that I don't have to, obviously I have to go grocery shopping, but I don't have to get any of those types of things for a month. And just having that on hand and then in my pantry and organized is really nice because I don't have to worry about it. Also, it helps that she is a kid who does like to eat the same thing every day, so she doesn't get tired of it, which is helpful. But anyway, I liked having all of those things ready to go because I don't have to get anything. I think I still have like 2 weeks left on all my snacks. So that is good. The next thing is an extra backpack available. I wish I had taken a picture of her backpack from last year, what it looked like at the end of the year. This thing was hanging on by a thread. And I'm hoping that this backpack makes it through this school year, but if not, I was either gonna have to buy an extra backpack or I decided to just use an extra one, like have a backup. It's one that we use for travel, but it's still in good condition because I feel like when your backpack dies in April or March or somewhere around spring, you're like, I don't wanna buy a a brand new backpack, but I need something. Target actually had $5 backpacks. I don't know if they are still available, but I was like, that could be a perfect backup for travel or otherwise, but to have in the spring, just in case you find yourself in that situation, because things start to really fall apart. By spring break, I feel like the school supplies give up. So there we have that. Now the next thing, this is my last school thing, is just to grab some extra school supplies, either for, you know, the winter when they're not on sale anymore. Like I feel like crayons are $2.50 a box in the winter, but during back to school time, they're like 49 cents. So having back to school items that you can use later on, or if you find something on clearance, donating it. I found for $9, it was I think a 24 pack or a 20 pack of Expo markers. It might've been a 16 pack. Anyway, it was a really good deal for that price because most of the Expo markers I was finding was $4.50 for a 4-pack. So this was great. So it's like, I'll donate this because it's $9 and she can have it now, but it's nice to just have some of those extra school supplies on hand because teachers sometimes need stuff in the middle of the year. Sometimes your kid needs stuff in the middle of the year. So grabbing it now while it's either on sale or on clearance is a good option. Okay, now we're on to Halloween costume. We're gonna get that as soon as it comes out. Now, if I remember correctly, Christmas trees were out in Walmart the 3rd week of September last year. Okay, so that means that Halloween costumes are gonna be out probably now. I would think late August, because as soon as they clear out all the school supplies, you're gonna get Halloween costumes. And that is the best time to get stuff because it is stocked and it's not picked over, and then you can just put it in your closet and forget it. I think that's a good option because I find that sometimes, I don't know, this year we might have to order online, but sometimes kids like to see things in person before picking something. So I feel like everything is super well stocked. August, first 2 weeks of September, and then I feel like people start to realize like, oh yeah. So Halloween costumes early, I always put that on my calendar. And actually, I meant to talk about this. This is my wall calendar that I was talking about from a few videos ago, and I love it. Now, what I always do in this top space right here is I put stickers. I ordered these stickers from Amazon and I was so excited about them, and they turned out to be AI slop. Let me show you some of these pictures. I returned them because I was like, this is crazy. Like if you're gonna use AI, at least do like a little bit of like reviewing before you, I don't know, market it, put it out on shelves. Michael's videos right now of all of the Michael's AI generated Halloween art it's been crazy to see. So anyway, I wanted to show you how I was gonna decorate, but I actually don't have any fall stickers yet. So I will show you what this looks like. Let me see if I can order some and then I can get some before the video, but if not, I'll show you next week. But that is my goal, and I do like to get the calendar started early because then I could be like, on my calendar, okay, here's the 15th, that's the middle of the month, buy Halloween costume, and then I'll write it in pencil. And if I don't get it this week, I'll move it next week, but by moving it, I'll be like, you've already bumped this 1 week, so you probably really need to do it. The next thing I do, okay, this is tricky for me, is I buy Halloween candy early. Now, let me tell you the dilemma I have here. I like having it purchased early. I don't like having it in my house early because I will just like eat all the Halloween candy. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, I work from home, and so it's just like, it is there. So this year, the plan is to rectify the situation. We're gonna buy the Halloween candy early, and I'm gonna buy stuff that's not like Reese's peanut butter cups, things that I'm gonna eat. We're getting Nerds. We're gonna get Fun Dip. We're gonna get things that I'm not gonna just like mindlessly eat during my workday. So Halloween candy early is good because they usually have sales. Sometimes I've seen BOGO, and then they have good options. And it's also nice because I feel like once it's, you know, a couple days before Halloween, there's almost no candy and it's picked over and you're starting to see like Christmas trees out. So Halloween candy early, Halloween costume early, I feel like that's something that I try to do, and that always helps. The last thing is checking your calendar for events that happened last year around Halloween and deciding how involved you want to be. So last year, school did a trunk or treat. My father-in-law had this amazing Lightning McQueen car, and so that was that trunk or treat. And this year, I don't think we're gonna have a car, but we will donate candy. So I'm like, you know what? You don't have to have the same level of participation every single year. It can be different. Maybe you just figure out like, I wanna donate or I wanna participate, but I'm just not gonna go as extreme as maybe I did the year before. The other thing I like to do is look at when the event fell last year. So maybe it was like the Friday before Halloween or the Wednesday before Halloween. So I can put that on my calendar as a little star in very, very light pencil and say, trunk or treat question mark. Of course, I know that that might not be the actual date, and you have to wait for the PTO to send out the dates of, you know, again, this is just an example, but knowing when it was last year kind of gives you a hint of when it could be this year, and then that way maybe you don't schedule something that night. It's not a perfect plan, but it's something that I try to do. All right, that's it for Halloween. These are just some miscellaneous fall items, and please leave comments if you have other ideas because I love to read them and use your ideas too. So the first is I like to make sure I'm making plans to see people, like grab coffee or dinner or something like that with with friends and family before things get busy. So I try to do a lot of scheduling of like, hey, let's grab dinner or let's do this in August and September, because I know as we get towards the end of the year, it's crazy. And then what happens is January actually winds up being crazy because everything that you've pushed off from November and December happens in that month. So I try to, make sure that I'm making plans, not to say that I don't make any plans during the end of the year, but it's harder to schedule because you're busy, they're busy, somebody's traveling, especially if it's a group thing. So I try to do that earlier in the fall because I feel like that works. Another thing I try to do is look at anything annoying that I have to do, which is what I'm going to be doing right now. For example, I think I need new tires and I also need an oil change. So I'm like, okay, when do I want to do that? Well, never, but I'd rather do it now than November. Speaking of annoying things that I also don't necessarily want to do, I also look at when am I going to need to go to the dentist, the doctor, blood work, OBGYN. All of those are fall things for me. So I need to schedule that now so that I can make sure that they're at the most convenient times. Like for me, I would love an 8 a.m. appointment because then I could probably be home by like 9:30, get in, get out, and it doesn't really impact my day. Or sometimes like I got my mammogram this year at 6:30. I can't believe they had an appointment that late, but it was like the last appointment of the day. So if I can go outside of the workday, that is what I usually try to do. So scheduling those appointments in advance helps. And I just feel like that's the easiest way to do it. Okay, up next is looking at old calendars from last year and a little retrospective that we do. We like to do an end of year recap where we think about the holiday season, things we wish we had done, things that we wish we had done earlier, all sorts of things. We just make a list so that this time of year we can go back and start planning those things. And looking at old calendars from last year is really helpful because I can see what we did and when, so I can put preparations for them on the calendar. So for example, I can be like, this is when we're gonna have my daughter's birthday party. So then I can put on my calendar, make sure you send the birthday party invitation by this date. So the reason for that is if I don't, I feel like then all of a sudden an event comes up and it's 3 weeks before and I'm not necessarily prepped for it. Or there's, we like to go to Halloween Horror Nights. That's something that we do every year. And then that happens. I mean, that event is starting already. And then you got to get tickets, you got to plan for when you want to go. And it gets busy. That's all I'm saying is I think it just gets crazy. We have some travel coming up in September and I feel like you blink and then it's October and I don't know, the end of the year just always goes by so fast. So the last thing that I wanted to add onto this list is that we plan a mini trip in September. We haven't always done this, but this year we're doing it because September is not necessarily my favorite time of year here. It is still so hot. It is still, truly like 100, 110 real feel. And it doesn't feel like fall. And everybody else is like, ooh, like pumpkins, apples, all of that. Started the Burr months. And I'm like, it is still so crazy hot here. So this year we are taking a little weekend trip to Niagara Falls. We've never been there before. My husband, daughter, and I are gonna go just like a quick 48 hours, fly up to Buffalo, go look around, see. We're gonna stay on the Canada side and then come back. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be like the 60s, 70s there. That is definitely gonna feel like fall. I think having a little weekend after summer, just something to look forward to is nice in early fall before things get crazy. So anyway, those are some of the things that I do as we start to prepare for fall and get ready for the end of the year. And I would love to hear if there's anything that I missed or anything you do that you swear by and you're like, I do this every single year because it gives me such peace of mind and clarity. So anyway, let me know, feel free to drop a comment, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.